Rassie Rasmus and the Springboks have just announced the Springbok 23 to face Ireland this weekend, and it's a very, very good team. I apologize that this is a couple minutes late. I was actually on the Lacquer Rugby pod where we broke down the team in real time, so I'll leave that linked down in the description. If you want to go check that out, give them a subscribe and leave us a comment down there on what you thought about our team breakdown at the Lacquer Rugby pod. But let's get into this lineup. Here it is. Up front, we've gone for Bohan Venter, Malcolm Marx, and Thomas du Toit. Now, like I said on the Lacquer Rugby pod, I think rugby is a massive confidence game, and for Rassie Rasmus to sort of pull Bohan Venter off the pitch I think he's played a total of sort of 40 or 50 minutes across both test matches, to pull him off early in the first half and then to go and put him up against Ireland is a big, big statement. But I think Harry sort of summed it up perfectly. Like, this is your opportunity. We back in you again. Go and show us and deliver. So good to see Bohan Venter there. I didn't think we'd see anyone else but Malcolm Marx in that number 2 jersey. He's been our best hooker. There's a reason he's been nominated for World Rugby Player of the Year. And then Thomas du Toit in the number 3 jersey. Again, I think he's probably been the best in that position throughout the season. You could argue to put Volko Low on there, but I really like that front row. I think I would have potentially picked Gerrit Steenekamp to start, but I'm loving the fact that Rassie Rasmus and the coaching staff are backing Bohan Venter in that number 1 jersey. Then, there's been a lot of chatter around the lock position with Loet de Jager out, with Franco Mosterd's red card that has been rescinded. He's now free to play. Obviously, it wouldn't have made a difference because he's not in the team, and I wonder if Rassie Rasmus would have put him in the team if the red card had been rescinded earlier, because I know that the Springboks announced their team on a Monday internally and they kind of train with that team throughout the week. Obviously, Franco Mosterd would not have been available for selection after that red card on the Monday, which is maybe why he isn't in the team. I personally don't think he would have played anyways. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And also, if you haven't, please hit that subscribe button because we're so close to 50,000 subscribers. But Rassie has gone for Eben Etzebeth and Ruan Nokia, exactly who I thought Rassie Rasmus would go for. I think they've been our best, most consistent lock combination so far this season. When Ruan Nokia is on the pitch, our lineouts just work a whole lot better. I would almost wager that it's about a 15 to 20% increase in successful lineouts when Ruan Nokia is on the pitch. He's also a dark horse in the rucks, doing the dirty work, hitting the tackles. He's an absolute machine, and you bring Eben Etzebeth along for that, the most capped Springbok ever, and I think we're in a very, very good place. Then we look at the loose trio in what is Siya Kolisi, Pieter-Steph du Toit, and Jasper Visser, which have been our best loose trio this season. I don't think we could have picked anyone else in this position to come up against Ireland, who are a very, very clever team. And I don't think we've touched on how big this game actually is. The Springboks haven't beaten Ireland since 2012 in Dublin at the Aviva. They've won 4 out of the last 5 games against the Springboks. And they're a very, very clever team. They always outthink us somehow. Their tactics are very, very good. And I think this feels like one of the biggest test matches of the year, because I think if we end up beating Ireland away from home, this must be the most successful season that the Springboks have had in recent years. Because to do what we did against the All Blacks, Argentina, France, Ireland away, if we end up beating them, we're not only winning at home anymore, we're not only winning during World Cups, we're winning in the middle of a World Cup cycle away from home against massive, massive opposition. So this is a big game for the trajectory of the season and sort of maybe how we look back on the season and wrap it up. And these guys like Siya, Pieter-Steph du Toit, and Jasper Visser are those guys that you want in that loose trio who are going to do the dirty jobs. Pieter-Steph du Toit, again, one of those guys who's been nominated for World Rugby Player of the Year. Jasper Visser has been an absolute fridge and continues to cut people's electricity when he runs over them. So a very good pack all in all, I think. The only real surprise for me is Bohan Venter in the number 1 jersey, but I kind of see what Rassie Rasmus is doing and I don't mind it at all. And then into the back line, there's only really one surprise here for me. The rest we kind of predicted in our lineup video, but going with Kobus Reinach and Sasha Feinberg and Ngumazulu once again as a partnership, I don't think is a bad idea at all. Again, we have to remember Sasha's 22, 23. He has been given so much responsibility this year. If you go and have a look at the games that Sasha has started, he is going to be our number 1 fly-off by the time 2027 comes around. And he could even be that at the moment, because what he's done in that 10 jersey is unlike anything we've seen from a Springbok 10. He almost looks more like a New Zealand 10 who can score a try on his own, can make anything out of anything, and also be very consistent off of the kicking team. Maybe not as consistent as Handré Pollard, but he is going to score you a try or two every other game. So the amount of points that Sasha racks up just on his own is why he's there. So 9, 10, beautiful. Then we've gone for Damien Delende and Jesse Creel in the 12 and 13 department. We experimented a little bit with Ethan Hooker and Kane and Moody last week. Did it work? I'm not too sure. I don't think we got a fair representation of that centre pairing just because of the red card and everyone shuffling around. But I did like the idea of sending over midfield bombs for Ethan Hooker and Kane and Moody to sort of collect in the midfield because they are phenomenal in the air. But we've kind of gone with the most tried and tested centre partnership in Damien Delende and Jesse Creel. And they're also forming a very nice relationship now with Sasha at 10. They've started quite a few games together and they're starting to flow really, really nicely. You then look at our wings, and here's the surprise. Cheslin Colby on the left wing, Kane and Moody on the right wing. So no Ethan Hooker, no Kurt Liarense. And I think they've obviously found something or seen something in Ireland's game that is very dangerous on the right wing, and they want someone who's extremely good in the air. I'm not saying Ethan Hooker or Kurt Liarense aren't, but Kane and Moody is exceptional in the air. So I think that's potentially why they've gone for it, and they might have put Cheslin on the left wing because they might have seen that there might be a little bit more space on the left wing for Cheslin Colby to exploit with his footwork. We then gone for Damien Willemse in the 15 jersey, no real surprise there. And if you look at the starting 15, plenty double World Cup winners. You got Sasha, who's one of the most informed players in the world at the moment. You've got Jasper Visser, who's also super in form. You've got Boan Fence, who's sort of been coming up. You've got Thomas du Toit's back in the mix. So very well balanced. And if I had to almost say one of probably our most informed team at the moment, which is exactly what you want going into Ireland. Then look at the bench. And it's a 5-3 split, but it's a 6-2 split if we're kind of looking at it, because Andre Esterhuizen is wearing that number 21 jersey, which is a little bit different because sometimes he wears the 21, sometimes he wears the 20, and whether that's just Rassie Rasmus's mind games, kind of telling Ireland, we don't know if we're going to play him at 12 or 6, and you guys also aren't going to know up until that actually happens. I don't know how teams prepare for that. I don't know how Ireland's going to prepare for it, but there is going to be a clever plan around that. And then we've gone with our normal sort of the 3 forwards or 3 front rowers on the bench. Johan Grobler, Gerrit Steenekamp, and Volko Low. So no Bongi Manambe, who's been called up to the squad. No Asenat and Klabakanya, who's also there. No Mchunu, which is also a little bit surprising. Johan Grobler, I thought he had a very good game last week. Considering the circumstances, considering all the changes, I think he definitely stepped up. And then you got Gerrit Steenekamp and Volko Low, who you kind of know what you're going to get from them. You're going to get some good set piece. They're going to win you some penalties in the 60th, 70th minute and put us in the correct place on the field. Then we've gone for Kwagga Smith and Andre Esterhuizen in our 2 Lucy/hybrid roles, as well as Argeus Snyman as a replacement lock. A lot of people were saying that they might start Argeus Snyman just because it is his 50th test, but I don't think Rassie Rasmus works like that. We're going to put the best team on the field in the correct positions that we feel we can win the game, and that's exactly what happened. And I like RG Snyman more coming off the bench than starting. And then finally, we got the finishing specialists, Grant Williams and Marnie Lebok, and I think they are really becoming bows that the Springboks, or strings that the Springboks have added to their bow. They came on last week and really closed out the game. Once Marnie Lebok came on for Handré Pollard, all of a sudden there was more space. All of a sudden we were scoring tries, and I think Marnie puts a lot of people into space, and he is that playmaker. Handré maybe doesn't read the game as well as a Marnie Lebok. I mean, in terms of that attacking ability and finding the space and having the footwork and the techers to do it. But I'm really enjoying Grant Williams and Marnie Lebok coming off the bench and finishing off games. So that's your starting 23 for Ireland. It's going to be an absolute war out there. You guys let me know what you think. If you haven't, please hit that subscribe button and leave this video a like. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.